Hey, thanks for joining me on the Third Eye of Providence for another deck review. Today's episode, I am going to be reviewing the Frequency Tarot by Teal Swan. Now, this is one of the first decks that I ever purchased for myself that was a little bit out of my price range, honestly. I believe it's $45, might not include shipping. And that was kind of a big purchase for me for cards I had never seen in person, but I felt very drawn to um, the images of these cards that I've seen online, on her page, and on other readers on YouTube that have been using these cards. So I definitely felt drawn to this particular deck. And I will say, when it arrived, I was surprised at how powerful the energies are in these cards. And the name is kind of deceiving. It is not a traditional tarot at all. It is certainly more of a guidance card and oracle deck. The images on them are all images that were channeled through Teal Swan, based on frequencies that she received. They are paintings that are supposed to resonate to the subconscious of the individual looking at the card, and they can be used for meditation purposes as well. Now, if you're not familiar with Teal Swan, she is a spiritual, let's say her a leader, a spiritual leader in the New Age movement. She is definitely an individual who, I would say, receives a lot of criticism as much as she receives praise. Um, People are very polarized by the teachings that she guides people with, and it's probably, a good sign, that somebody has just as many detractors as they do people praising them. It just shows that there's a well balanced individual, right? Like, the thing I like about Teal Swan and why I was drawn to her teachings is that she really doesn't sugarcoat a lot of the stuff that some of the people in New Age spirituality do. She calls out spiritual bypassing, and she really takes a fair shakedown of certain topics that other people typically, I've seen, avoid discussing. So, yes, she does talk a lot about integration and completion. She talks a lot about ego and the trappings of ego, and a lot of people in the New Age community, especially for people who are new to it, uh, we would say newly awakened people, um, really don't get enough guidance that helps them navigate the shadow aspects and the dark nights of the soul. And Teal Swan is one of the first teachers that I was drawn to that really helps people embrace and integrate some of the more shadow and negative aspects of the spiritual path. And because of that, of course, there are people who only want to praise light and they only want to bring love into their practice and into their spirituality, and they reject the shadow and they reject the darkness and they reject the negativity. And as a result, they reject her teachings as well, because she uses those, to integrate into higher self. So that's a little bit of a background on her. If you're interested in her teachings, go check out her stuff for yourself and make your own assumptions and opinions on who she is and if her guidance is worth anything. I will say that as a deck of cards to use for energy reading, these cards are very powerful. They resonate right away, for me anyway. I didn't have to do much studying or meditation to really start to be tuned into this deck. If anything, I've had some really spooky experiences with it where at one point these cards fell off of my shelf, which is up here where I keep all of my cards, and it fell off and the cards fell out, and they revealed some cards to me that definitely I was experiencing those energies at that time without setting any intention, without, clearing the deck or saging or anything. Like, these are some powerful cards. They will show you what needs to be revealed. And I personally love them. As you can tell, like, this has gotten a lot of use since I started my spiritual practice and reading. So I do tend to pull these cards out a lot when reading for other people. The thing I like about them is that they are read with reversals. So the frequency you can tap into, it's either going to be at the upright frequency or it's going to be the reverse. And what I've gotten from reading these cards many times is that the reverse isn't necessarily the same meaning as the upright. Sometimes it's the mirror aspect, sometimes it's the shadow aspect. It really depends on what the frequency is, because sometimes the frequency is a negative frequency, and then if you get it in the reverse, it means something that's actually kind of positive. It's about breaking that negative energy. So definitely, I use the book a lot when reading with these cards, and it's a pretty easy to navigate book. I will say that the cards are very, the deck is 77 cards. It's very easy to navigate the deck and look through the book, and the definitions in the book are very short and very to the point, but very deep. And for example, I just opened the book to number 20, gratitude, and it tells you the meaning upright for gratitude. It gives you some advice on what this vibration is about. It gives you some advice about what this means for drawing this card. And then it goes on to describe if you've pulled it in the reverse. And it gives you some more advice on how to handle this energy if you've pulled this in the reverse. And it gives you some real good questions to think about and to ponder. And some of these even give you little practices you can do, like about journaling, or about like writing stuff down, or burning things, or going out and grounding yourself. Like, it's really good advice, and it's all meant to help you navigate these energies, not necessarily release yourself from them, not necessarily push them away, but just really embrace and lean into the frequency. So I do really recommend this deck. It's helped me so much in my spiritual practice individually. It's helped my clients. People have really resonated with the images, and I will send a picture to people of the card so that they can meditate on the energy and really integrate these aspects with themselves. And the colors are beautiful. The cards are really slick. They're very easy to shuffle. They're a really good size. I like that they're longer than they are wide, because it makes them really easy to shuffle them together and to hold in one hand. This is one of the images that Teal Swan uses a lot, and I like that you can't tell whether or not the card is reverse or upright until you flip it. There's no way of knowing. So that's really neat. And then, like I said, they're easy to shuffle, considering that this is a 77 card deck, which is pretty big for me, honestly. I like that they are really easy to handle. And then the cards themselves, for example, we'll do this one. Haha. We got self-love, the energy of self-love, number 10. And this is the image, according to Teal Swan, when she meditates on the frequency of self-love, this is the image that appears to her. And if you meditate on this image, you will embody this frequency yourself. Which is just beautiful. The colors are gorgeous, and each of them has different sacred geometric patterns, different color patterns. And the numbers also are really important, especially if you're like me and appreciate the numerology behind the cards. Beautiful images. Such a unique deck, and the energies are so powerful. And I just really appreciate, like I said, the guidance of these cards. And regardless of whether or not you agree with Teal Swan and her teachings, this is definitely a great deck to add to your collection if you feel so guided to use these cards. Thank you for checking out this deck review. If you have used this deck or somebody has read with this deck for you, feel free to leave a comment below. If you're a fan of Teal Swan or you have criticisms to add about her teachings, I'd love to hear your feedback on that as well. And stay tuned for the next deck review. Make sure you come over to my Instagram page on Fridays too, because I'm doing free Friday tarot readings on my Instagram, and I will be using this deck this week. So I hope to see you over there, and I thank you guys so much for the support, for the likes, and for all my subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much.